I was wrong, and I want to thank Lisa, one of my channel members. If you didn't know, I have channel memberships here on this YouTube channel, Melanoma Mom, where for a small fee, I think it's $2.99 a month, you can support me on this channel in helping me to purchase sunscreens that I then review here on this channel for you all to help you find the best sunscreen for your skin and to save a little money on your budget. And Lisa has been a channel member for months now. Thank you, Lisa. And I listen to her. Lisa is wise. And she has helped me since, I think, almost from the very beginning of starting this YouTube channel. Lisa, you have just been a source of education for me, as well as a source of support for me in this journey of sunscreen and skin cancer. So Lisa pointed out, she asked me a question when I posted that I needed questions for this upcoming Q&A. She posted a question, I read it, and I said, I'm not quite sure where I got that idea from. That's a great question. Let me go investigate. And in investigating, of course, Lisa was correct and I was incorrect. And I never want to be a source of misinformation here on this channel. I want you all to come to this channel and get the most accurate information about sunscreen and about skin cancer as I can provide. And it is my promise that when I come across misinformation, that I will correct it. And if I have been a person who has spread misinformation, that I will come on here and apologize and correct that misinformation. And going forward, I will do better. So I promise to do better. Here's the misinformation that I have been spreading. On my channel, I have been saying, probably not since the beginning because, well, it doesn't matter. I'm not quite sure when it started that I started saying this. But I've been telling y'all to discard your sunscreens after a year after opening them and I've been saying that they expire after a year, and this is incorrect information. And honestly, going back through, I'm not sure where I got this information from because Lisa is correct. In doing research, and I am a person to research things, so not sure where I got it from, but in doing research, I can confirm that the FDA, which is here in the States, is our regulating drug body. It regulates our drugs and medications. The FDA, and I will post a link down below, but it's fda.gov, says that all sunscreens sold in the United States must have an expiration date of at least 3 years. They cannot be under 3 years to be sold in the United States. They must be at least 3 years before they expire. The incorrect information is sunscreens do not expire after a year of use. Now, there are some caveats to that. I go to Paula's Choice. Paula's Choice has a database on ingredients. They are a brand, but they also put out a lot of really good, accurate information about sunscreen. And one of the things that they talk about on their website is they point out the FDA, every sunscreen has to have an expiration date on it, and it has to be at least 3 years from when they manufacture the product. All right, so I wrote down a couple of caveats here from the Paula's Choice website that you need to take in consideration if you are trying to determine if your sunscreen has expired or not. If you open it and the texture has changed from what you remember it being, okay, that could be a sign of expiration. If the smell has changed, could be a sign of expiration. Or if the color has changed, that could also be a sign that your sunscreen has expired. Another thing to take into consideration is where have you been storing your sunscreen? It might not last the 3 years if you are storing it in your car and in the heat of the summer and you've parked your car out in direct sun, because one of the stipulations of a formula to be safe is that you have to store it in a cool, dry place. So if you've been storing that sunscreen, keeping it out for hours by the water at the pool, it may expire faster. If you store it in your car, it may expire faster as well. So those are things to consider. Some suggestions that the FDA had, I can't remember if it was the FDA or if it was Paula's Choice, talks about keeping your sunscreen wrapped up in a towel when you're out at the beach or the pool. I like keeping mine now in like a little insulated cooler, and then I keep that in the shade at the pool. I no longer keep sunscreen in the car unless it's in my purse, and then I take my purse with me where I go. So I hope that was helpful in correcting that misinformation. Going forward in my videos, I will make sure that I correct that misinformation. And if I can identify the videos where I have stated that sunscreens expire after a year, if I can find those videos, then I will pin a comment under those videos correcting that misinformation, okay? Because I'm not quite sure how many videos I've said that in. You will notice that I write the date that or the month actually that I open, the month and the year that I open the sunscreen on. And then I was throwing away my sunscreens after a year if I hadn't used them up. Now I will know I can hold on to those for 3 years, and that I need to purge after 3 years. So that's good. That means we save more money, right? This is a good thing that I'm correcting. Okay. Oh, hi. I'm Sean, Melanoma Mom here. Welcome to my channel. I try to save you money over here by providing weekly sunscreen reviews and help you find the sunscreen that's good for your skin. I also talk about how to prevent skin cancer because I am a melanoma cancer survivor. This is a Q&A, so let's move on to the next question. Peggy M1621 asked, if you could only choose 2 face sunscreens from the drugstore, what would you get? And I think this was a question that was on the video where I talked about, was it like my top 10 from the drugstore or from Ulta Beauty, and then my top 10 from Amazon, I think, from the drugstore. This is a very difficult one because I find that there are a lot of issues with sunscreens for me at the drugstore price point, right? When you think drugstore, you think friendly price point, like the La Roche-Posay mineral sunscreen. I'll pop it up here because I can't remember the exact name of it. I love this one. You can find it at most drugstores. Can't find it at all of them, but it is a higher price point, and it's definitely not going to work for all people. I love that it's matte. The white cast isn't too bad on me, but I think it's going to have a white cast on darker skin tones. And I love that it's water resistant. So there's that one. That's one of the few. A lot of the drugstore ones aren't water resistant, and when they are water resistant, then they sting my eyes, and they're the chemical UV ones that sting my eyes. So it's hard to just find a one and done, at that drugstore price point. And by drugstore, I mean like $20 and under. The Beauty of Joseon, that one comes close, but you can't find it in drugstores. Right now, it's only, as I understand it, because I've been looking for it other places, it's only on their US website right now. It's fantastic, but again, it's also not water resistant. So that's the thing for me. There is an Aveeno one. It's an SPF 60. It's an all chemical sunscreen. I used to use that one a lot when I was in Beaufort. We lived in Beaufort, South Carolina. So that would have been about 4 years ago. It was readily available. But again, it was a chemical sunscreen. So I could put it on my face. It was great. It had a natural to it. I could put it on my face. I could put it on my body. It didn't irritate except for around my eyes. I couldn't put it around my eyes. So then I would have to find a sunscreen just for around my eyes, a mineral one. And I guess it would be that La Roche-Posay one. That is just a difficult question because I used to, when I first started this channel, I was on the search for one perfect sunscreen that could work for all things, right? Where face, around my eyes, in the pool, daily wear, on my body. And for me, it just doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. That's why I'm a sunscreen advocate for like a sunscreen wardrobe or sunscreen arsenal where you have more than one and you recognize sunscreen as kind of like makeup and other skincare products. There's not one product that does everything. I'm also a big advocate for UPF clothing. This is by Coolie Bar. I just got it. It's in this beautiful lavender color. It's Lavendula, I think is the color name. And it's got thumb holes. It's so soft. It has zinc woven through it. So doesn't matter how many times you wash it, it's still going to be UPF 50. Absolutely love it. I'll leave it linked below. Thank you, Peggy, for that question, even though it was difficult for me to answer. Cardigan Folklore asked, I can see that you're very diligent about sun protection. Has that diligence of yours rubbed off on your family as well? Are they more conscious about sun protection after what you went through? And then Lisa had asked a second question that kind of, I feel like, goes along with Cardigan Folklore's question. Lisa next to asked, how did you get your husband on board to start wearing sunscreen? Oh, my family, it's been a journey for them too, right? I feel like wearing sunscreen, because of the way our culture is not a natural thing to do and is seen as not a very enjoyable thing to do. It also takes time, right? It's one more thing you have to think of before you head out the door. And just like it was difficult for me, but I had a higher stake of motivation, right? I don't want to get skin cancer again. I don't want to have melanoma again. So I made an instant change that was very difficult for me and was a huge learning curve. My family has an even bigger learning curve to go with when it comes to sunscreen, because they haven't had the skin cancer scare personally for themselves. So I've definitely have affected my family in a positive way. My husband, he does wear sunscreen now. He has a bald head. He shaves his head bald. He has a lot of facial hair, and he has become very good about putting it on his head and his ears and his face. He keeps a bottle of sunscreen now at his office, so that he can reapply. And he also, puts it on here in the morning. I don't think he puts it around his eyes, because the sunscreen he uses probably causes eye stinging, but he sweats a lot from his head, and it's done a good job of not running in his eyes. He loves the SuperGoop Unseen sunscreen that has that silicone-y texture. It's clear, it's matte, and it's water resistant. He loves that one. I can't stand it. I can't stand that one, but he loves that one. Now on the rest of his body, when we go for walks or for hikes or the beach or the pool, he puts it on his arms. He's a very hairy man. He puts it on his arms, his legs. He can't stand it because it's very difficult to spread when you are a hairy man, and spreading it in the hair. But he does it because he knows it's important. I don't think he does his arms and his legs on a regular basis. Like, he left this morning in a polo shirt. I don't think he put it on his arms. I know he put it on his face and his head and the back of his neck and his ears, but I'm pretty sure he did not put it on his arms. He struggles with getting into that routine and the time that it takes to find the different sunscreens that work for your body. He is like me at the beginning of my journey. He wants to find one sunscreen that works for all situations. And he doesn't want to take the mental or the physical time to try a bunch of different sunscreens and go through that pain of putting on a sticky one. He still has in his mind that most sunscreens are thick and sticky. And to be honest, he also does not like the feel of like a regular moisturizer on his body skin. His hands will get really dry. And I'm a person that I like to have lotion around the house. Like, beside almost every single hand soap, there's also a bottle of lotion in the house. Like in the kitchen back here, I've got lotion beside the hand soap, because I love the feel of lotion on my body. And so I can't stand dry hands. So I'm constantly putting lotion on. So putting sunscreen on my body came more naturally than putting it on my face. But he's the opposite. My daughter, she hates putting sunscreen on. And again, I think it's the time component of it. She's 7. She will remind me to put sunscreen on her. She would rather wear a hat than have it in her part line. But school, they don't allow hats at school, even for sun protection. My son, I have provided him with sunscreen. He is 17 years old. I am 100% certain he does not put it on before he goes to school, because he's still using the same sunscreen stick. And I did give them sticks over the lotions, because that's easier for kids when they're learning to put on a sunscreen stick, more so than a lotion. And we do other protective measures. We all have hats now. We didn't used to wear hats before I had skin cancer. None of us wore hats. So I hated hats. I still have a love-hate relationship with hats. And obviously we didn't wear sunscreen. And now we do. My extended family, my mom and my sister, I think are better about putting sunscreen on. My brother, I know he puts it on my little niece. She is 2, getting ready to turn 3. And he still uses the white zinc sunscreens. He is of the mindset that Blue Lizard is that if it's not thick and white and it's not labeled baby sunscreen, then it's not intended for babies and toddlers. He thinks that that's safer. At least he's putting sunscreen on, right? So I've tried to tell him, hey, there are other sunscreens for kids that, you don't have to deal with that white cast that you could try on my niece. And he's like, no, this way I can see that it's on her. I'm like, okay, I'm just glad that he's putting sunscreen on her because she also has fair skin, light eyes, and red hair like my daughter does. They actually look very similar, surprisingly. I have a lot of friends who have started wearing sunscreen because of me, who got skin checks, dermatology, like go to the dermatologist and get a full body skin check because of me, and stuff has been found. And then I have people who, I say stuff to and it just washes right over them. And they can't be bothered, and they may have to learn the hard way. I had to learn the hard way, so I understand it. It's difficult to change your routines and your habits, so that's a very long explanation. Next question. I could talk about that all day. I get rambly, sorry about that. Mr. Nordic Nicholas asks, please talk more about the HelioCare. So HelioCare is a supplement that I don't know much about. It uses fern PLE technology, which is a plant-based. I think the idea, don't quote me on this, y'all. Okay, this is an unofficial statement. The idea is there are specific plants that have built-in sun protection for the plants. And the idea is to take this specific type of fern plant and put it in a supplement, and that it provides some protection against our skin burning so that we don't get those really bad sunburns that lead to skin aging, skin damage. It's not meant as a replacement for sunscreen. It's not meant as a replacement for any sort of sun protection. Like, you shouldn't just take the supplement, is my understanding, and then don't put sunscreen on, don't limit your exposure to the sun, and immediately just full sun at the beach and the pool and only depend on the supplement to prevent sunburns. That I think is what they say not to do. It should just be another form of sun protection in your sunscreen or your sun protection arsenal. Just like wearing UPF clothing is part of how I protect myself. Putting on a hat is part. Wearing sunscreen is part. Taking HelioCare supplement is part of that sun protection routine that I've integrated. Now, I'm not my current dermatologist because I haven't talked to them about HelioCare, but the previous one I had in another town, he advocated for taking HelioCare, said that I didn't need to take it during the winter, just in the summer. But he hadn't himself taken care of it. And he red hair, younger than I am, freckles. And he was like, yeah, I've got that on my list to try this out so that I can actually fully recommend it to patients. He gave me some samples. And so, and then Lisa, who we talked about before, Lisa first is the one who first told me about HelioCare. And I think she has the generic version. She knows the generic version of it, which I have trouble finding the generic. But the HelioCare, they have it at Walgreens. They have it on Amazon. I just get mine off Amazon. And I'll start wearing it once more hot weather comes. I'm wearing short sleeves because it is expensive. I can't afford to be on HelioCare throughout the year. So I take it when I know we're going to be outdoors more. And when that UV is higher, I'll start taking it every day, especially when we go to the beach this summer. We are doing all of our stuff end of May, beginning of June. So I will probably start taking HelioCare at the beginning of May. and then just go straight through till, to the end of August. Everyday supplements. I'm trying to get my husband on those supplements as well. So that when we're at the pool, you don't get the sunburn. Now, it's my understanding it doesn't prevent skin cancer. It just reduces the look of the sunburn on your skin. Now, I took it last year and the year before. Can I tell you if it works or not? No, because I am so diligent with my sunscreen. I'm so diligent with wearing long sleeves and pants at the pool and at the beach and hats and limiting my sun exposure. So I can't tell you, I'm not willing to go out and test it in full sun just with the supplement and sunscreen and expose my body to potential UV damage and future skin cancers. So that's why I don't talk about it too much, but I did want to share it with you. If you have the money and you want an extra layer of protection, it may work for you. So I will continue taking it because I do feel like, I don't know, it gives me a sense of like an extra layer of protection, right? That's what I could say about that. All right. Do we have any more questions here? Okay, here's a fun one. Winter Autumn 559, who I think also goes by Valerie. I just always know you as Winter Autumn. For some reason, like on the back end of YouTube, I can only see your @ and your names. I have to go like on the channel to see your other name. Anyways, Winter Autumn 559 asks, I'm curious how you define natural leaning glowy. In my experience, the sunscreen I use are matte or glowy to the gods. So I used to think that there was, for me personally on my skin, that things were either matte or glowy to the gods. And the more sunscreens I try out, I feel like there's some middle ground there. Okay. So I wrote down a couple that I consider natural leaning glowy versus glowy to the gods. Okay. Some examples. What would you consider this on my face? Let me know down below. I don't have foundation on. I just have a sunscreen I'm testing. What would you consider this one? This is after, what time is it? An hour and a half of having this sunscreen on. Okay, let me know. Okay, natural leaning glowy examples on my skin are the Todi Solera Mineral. Okay, to me, it's just slightly beyond natural to me. Like you could have a natural leaning matte and a natural leaning glowy, meaning I've just put a moisturizer on my face and that's what it looks like. I just have freshly moisturized skin. Whereas matte to me means the light doesn't bounce off my skin as much. I think Todi is more of a natural leaning glowy. It looks like I put a lot of moisturizer on my skin, but to me, it's not glowy to the gods. I feel like it doesn't change the foundations that I put on top of it. It doesn't make them more glowy. Beauty of Joseon, the new daily tinted SPF 40. That one to me is natural leaning glowy. It's glowy, but it's like a moisturized skin glowy. It's not a fake super glow Tin Man kind of glow. So those are my examples of natural leaning glowy. Okay, glowy to the gods. My examples are the new SuperGoop Glowscreen and also the previous SuperGoop Glowscreens. It's like they've added in extra ingredients to make it almost like Tin Man effect. Like sunbeams are gonna bounce off your face. Okay, the Tula Protect and Glow SPF 30 is another one. It's so insanely glowy. It's not a natural looking glow. It's like obviously I've put something on my face to make it look extra glowy. And then the e.l.f. Sun Touchable Wow Glow SPF 30. And I'm sure I can come up with more, but those are just the ones in recent memory. So I hope that helps having examples of the differences. Okay, I think this video is long enough. I hope you grabbed a snack and got some water. Oh, on my lips, I wanted to mention I am still wearing the e.l.f. Sun Boss Gloss SPF 25. A lot of you asked me if this is sticky. To me, it's not sticky. I know some of you swear this is sticky, but y'all, my lips don't stick together. It is thick though. Like it's a thick sunscreen, and I think that's why I like it because it stays on my lips. Like even if I drink, it'll get all over the straw. But it's so thick that it just stays on my lips all day long, and I very rarely have to reapply. It's a mineral UV filters, SPF 25. It comes in a lot of colors. I think this one is, why is the print so tiny? Yeah, this is Pink Me Girl is the shade that I'm wearing today. I also love the Mauve Much. No, Blush Much. Blush Much. Those are my two shades that I really enjoy. But this one's just like my natural lip color. So today's a great day to wear sunscreen and a hat and possibly UPF 50 clothing. I'm not telling you what I'm wearing. You'll just have to wait and see when I'm wearing this shirt in an upcoming video. Actually, the color of the shirt should be a hint as to what is on my face, what sunscreen brand is on my face. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.